Hello everyone, you are watching a snippet of an extraordinary edition of the Countdown program. Today is June 7th, Wednesday. Events are developing in such a way that you need to respond to them immediately. See the full version of this program on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. And I'm moving on to the main thing. The KAHOVSKI'S hydroelectric power station, blown up by the Rashists, made adjustments to the actions of the armed forces of Ukraine, but did not cancel the offensive itself. They themselves boasted about the fact that the Rashists mined the hydroelectric power station from the inside, back at the end of 2022, specifying that if an order was given by the command, they would blow up this structure without regret in order to slow down the offensive of the armed forces of Ukraine. And now this day has come. As soon as words were heard from Kyiv about the readiness of the Ukrainian army to attack, the dam was blown up. It is known that the KAHOVSKI'S hydroelectric power station was built in such a way that the structure itself was able to withstand a serious external blow. Therefore, it was possible to destroy the hydroelectric power station only by mining it from the inside. She was torn off in the engine room itself. And no matter what Peskov or Nebenzia carries at a meeting of those concerned at the UN, the motivation of the Rashists is understandable. Now, the offensive of the armed forces of Ukraine is impossible in the flooded territories, but the Ukrainian army took into account this course of events, and it probably has a plan B. Of course, in a few weeks the water will leave, the soil will dry out, and it will be possible to resume the offensive operation in the now flooded territories. But for obvious reasons, not now. Today, the main thing is to save those who found themselves in flood zones. Moreover, the invaders were not even stopped by the fact that this explosion deprives the annexed Crimea of water in the future. This means that a scorched earth strategy has been adopted. So the Soviet troops left, blowing up everything after themselves. And so did the Nazis. And we must not forget about the catastrophic scenarios that can be implemented at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant captured by the Russians. At the same time, Shoigu's parquet generals, in an effort to bring good news to their rat commander, are already vying with each other reporting on the crazy losses of the armed forces of Ukraine. If yesterday morning Konashenkov reported about 1.5 thousand dead Ukrainian servicemen, by the evening, in the mouth of Shoigu himself, this figure had already turned into 3,000. And that's not counting dozens of allegedly destroyed HIMARS, Leopards and other flying saucers. Schizophrenic delirium comes into dissonance with the statements of the leader of the Mir office Prigozhin, who suggested that the Kremlin could use tactical nuclear weapons in the Belgorod region, where sabotage groups are operating. They say that he has already shied away on foreign territory, using a hydraulic structure as a weapon of retaliation, which, in principle, is comparable in consequences to a nuclear weapon, but no one will forbid him to blow up something vigorous on his own territory. By the way, if a criminal truth seeker began to carry such a game, it means that he knows for sure that something similar can be allowed in some offices of the Kremlin. We also note the reaction of the good Russians to the undermining of the KAHOVSKI'S hydroelectric power station by the Russians. The Medusa special edition released some analysts into the light of day, who allowed the option of the dam's self-destruction. Watch the full story on Patreon. Become our patrons now and look further in this program. Over the past 2 days, hostilities in eastern Ukraine have intensified significantly. This is said by anonymous interlocutors from NATO and the military intelligence of one of the European countries. Over the past day, the armed forces of Ukraine advanced up to 1,100 meters in different sections of the Bakhmut direction. The invaders in this direction went on the defensive, trying to hold their positions, while the odious Nebenzia is lying about blowing up a hydroelectric power station within the walls of the UN. The good Russians are doing their best in the European Parliament. Rashist political scientist Ekaterina Shulman proposed to establish the position of a commissioner who would protect the rights of Russian citizens outside the Russian Federation. It looks like the good Russians will soon need protection. The Polish authorities deported the former FSB officer Emron Navrozbekov, who shared the secrets of the FSB agents on Vladimir Osechkin's channel. However, clouds are already gathering over the head of Osechkin himself. But these details will be in the Friday stream. Britain said that it is still too early to draw conclusions about the reasons for the breakthrough of the KAHOVSKI'S hydroelectric dam. NBC News, citing U.S. officials, claims that the U.S. has intelligence that points to Russia as the culprit undermining the KAHOVSKI'S hydroelectric dam. And I really want to believe that the time of concerns is a thing of the past. The leader of the Kremlin greeted the participants of the economic gangway, which will open in St. Petersburg on June 14. Putin has his own reality. In 2023, according to forecasts, the global economy will continue to slow down, but Russia's GDP could grow by 1 to 2%. And thanks to the business brethren who did a lot to overcome the severe consequences of the sanctions. They are handsome, but the depth explorers did not live richly. It makes no sense to start. And that is all. See the full version of the program on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to everyone. See you tomorrow. Glory to Ukraine.